Hello, beautiful ones. Hope you're all okay. I'm at my house in Italy. The sun is shining. It's 27 degrees outside, and the big old cherry tree outside the window is laden with ripening fruit. I'm going to make some cherry brandy this year, which should hopefully be nice at Christmas. Well, this morning's meanderings are all about ironing as a metaphor for life. Weird combination, to be fair, but bear with me while I bimble my way through. So, yeah, ironing. Don't we all just love it? No? Well, maybe not. Maybe it really is what we all too often see it as, the scourge of our lives. But when you think about it, ironing is a great metaphor for life, isn't it? When we stare at something or allow ourselves to be badgered by it, say like a pile of ironing sitting in a corner somewhere waiting to be done, it's no different from a lot of other things in life that we know we have to do but keep putting off. And one of the reasons we keep putting it off, for many of us, is that we're already overloaded with stuff we have to do in life and could probably do with some help. But do we ask? Nope. Mostly we don't. I don't. At least I never did in the past. But I'm changing my mind on that. I'm allowing myself to become a woman who does ask for help when she needs it. I grew up in an era where the ironing board was never away in its cupboard for long. My mother seemed to spend a lot of time ironing. We also had family friends, Bill and Olive, and Auntie Olive never put her ironing board away. In fact, whenever we went round to their house, she was always ironing. They had 3 young boys, so I guess she had plenty of laundry on the go all the time. And back in those days, everything was cotton and creased to the limit, even after a day in the wind on the clothesline. But I swear to God, I never saw that woman doing anything other than ironing. It was like she was shackled to her ironing board with an invisible chain. I once asked her if she liked ironing, and I can't remember what she said, but it didn't matter whether she liked it or not, did it? It had to be done, and that was that. There was no one else to do it, so she cracked on. Ironing slave extraordinaire, that poor woman was probably buried with her iron in the end. You know, it occurs to me now that even in my 6th decade, I still can't decide whether I love ironing or hate it. I'm still ambivalent after more than 50 years of doing it. What can I tell you other than to say that if I walked into the room and the ironing board was set up and the iron was on and ready to go, I'd happily get on with it and I'd see it through to the end. In other words, if the solution to the problem was already there, I would just jump in and apply it. Because solving any problem allows us to feel good about it, doesn't it? So there's an end goal, a psychological one, not just the end goal of having the ironing done. It's the sense of gratification we get from having done it. But the whole thought of setting up, dragging the board out, filling the iron and plugging it in and waiting to get started, I hate that. I have to literally grit my teeth to do all that, and I don't know why that is. I'm not sure what that says psychologically. Maybe that I'd rather not use my energy to remove the obstacles in front of a problem, even though I know the problem won't go away if I ignore it. Many problems don't. So there's one application of the metaphor. If you don't get stuck in, nothing improves. The clothes don't end up in the wardrobe ready to wear. The sheets and towels look a mess in the airing cupboard, and we don't want to hang things up or put them away unless they are ready to use. So the ironing sits and quietly seethes in a corner. And strangely, even though it doesn't do anything, it starts to become really annoying, doesn't it? And as time goes on, it annoys us more and more. Eventually, necessity of one kind or another, whether it's to alleviate the guilt or frustration, or to just actually end up with something we can wear. We give in and we grit the teeth and we get on and do it. I have friends with mums who do their ironing. Oh, God, how wonderful is that? I'm not that blessed. If I don't do it, it doesn't get done. I would no more trust my husband with the ironing than I would with going out and buying me a pair of shoes. It would be a monumental, unmitigated disaster. If he didn't burn the house down, he'd at least put a bloody great scorch mark down the front of my favourite frock. As much as I adore him, there are certain things I would never let him loose with, and one of them's an iron. Oddly enough, he once said the same thing to me about chainsaws, but I'm actually quite good with those. I have a chainsaw of my own now, and so far I haven't managed to cut my own leg off. Prospects are looking good for ongoing safety, touch wood. But the funny thing is that once I am up and running with the ironing, I do quite enjoy it. I'm that 10-year-old kid again whose friend showed her how to iron a handkerchief and a tea towel back in the day. And although we no longer have hankies in this house, we do have tea towels, and I do iron them. Tragic, I know, but there's something so satisfying for me in seeing the creases disappear, ending up with a smooth surface and a neat, orderly pile of beautifully folded, clean tea towels. There's the metaphor again, the satisfaction of ironing out a few of life's creases. When I'm ironing, I make a point of watching telly or listening to music. It's multitasking, doing something necessary at the same time as doing something fun. And then the magic of disappearing creases kicks in and comforts me that sometimes the jumble of life can be smoothed just a little. By the end of the mission, I've heard some good music or watched something interesting on TV, and I have nicely ironed clothes. The sheets on the bed will feel nice, the towels will sit neatly until they need to be used, and curiously, all of that has become a bit more important than it used to be for me. I'm not OCD, but I do like things to look orderly where possible. I'm not great at living in chaos. Some people thrive on that, and I do have at least half a dozen of those friends. You know, the ones who have so much crap on their desks that they can't see the surface, but they know exactly where the one paper clip is when they need it, or their favourite pen. They're frantically busy in a dozen directions, but they still know exactly where everything is. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm finding that as I get older, the need for order is increasing. I was only just this morning actually talking to a friend on the phone about that. She feels exactly the same, and so I guess it is an age thing. I don't think I'm leaning towards OCD as I'm shuffling towards old age, but my need to be able to find things easily and keep stuff straight, clean and tidy is greater. And I've always had a weird thing about clothes pegs. I've started using wooden ones, but for a long time I used plastic coloured ones. I used them for decades until I started living here in Italy and saw how quickly the sun out here destroys them. They go brittle and hard and they snap. And whenever I hung something up with 2 or more coloured pegs, the item had to have the pegs the same colour. Weird. I remember the scene at the start of Coronation Street where there's a clip of a clothesline with 3 pegs on it. One's upside down and all 3 are different colours. It sent me into a tailspin, I kid you not. Yeah, my bit of weirdness. We all have random weirdnesses, right? God, please don't tell me I'm the only one. But ironing is one of those things in life that's really representative of life in general. Something needs and is waiting to be done. We've created it by doing the laundry in the first place because that had to be done. And now we have to go ahead and finish what we started. And it's inconvenient. And for some, it's unpleasant. And we keep procrastinating and put it off, or we farm it willingly out to someone else who is prepared to deal with it. It's what we do with the ironing, and it's what we do in life. It kind of dovetails in with my box theory of dealing with life's issues in general, and here's the nugget. Here's the application you can carry forward into the rest of your life with the odd and annoying quirks and bangs that keep happening and continually threatening to derail you. There are only 2 types of problems in this world, and in terms of how they need to be dealt with, they exist in one or the other of only 2 boxes. One box has a lid on it, and the other one doesn't. The box with the lid on it is for the problems that no amount of interference will help solve. They are the problems that only time or someone else can sort out. So the lid is on the box so that you don't have to spend time looking at or worrying about them. The other box, the one without the lid, is the one for the issues you can't ignore. They are the ones that will never be solved by being ignored. They are the ones that you actually have to get stuck in and sort out. And no, don't think you can get away with putting a lidless problem in the lidded box. Putting the ironing into a basket or a hamper that has a lid on it won't work. You know it won't. It'll still be in there gurgling away to itself, waiting for you to come and sort it out. So in short, you have to pick your battles. You have to know which kind of problem should be in which box. That's how you get through life, dealing with what you can and leaving alone what no amount of your influence or interference will change. and being wise enough to know the difference. And here's the thing, you are wise. You've got this concept. But sometimes there's a fault in the stars that line it up and make it easy to deal with. And believe me, you're not alone in that. We all do this. We all make excuses for not doing what we know needs to be done. And tied up in that is the totally wrong notion that we don't deserve to have the satisfaction of having it nicely done or completed. I used to run a domestic cleaning business, and yes, we did ironing. And the biggest problem I ever had was women saying they couldn't possibly have a cleaner, unquote. Some of those women were busy. They were working full-time, raising kids, trying to keep all kinds of important relationships going in their lives, and cleaning the freaking house. I could write a book about the excuses they gave me over not getting help to do a job that needed to be done, that often didn't get done, at least not to the standard they wanted it to be done. And of course, that was something else they'd end up berating themselves for, from a place of exhaustion or lack of motivation. And how much sense does that make? None. And it's the same with the ironing. It needs to be done to a standard you're happy with, and often that motivation or energy simply isn't there, even when you do have the time. But you know what? It's okay to accept that. What's not okay is allowing it to overwhelm you. If there's a problem, whether it's an issue at work or with a kid or a partner or a friend behaving badly or even just a simple pile of bloody ironing, you can't let it get the better of you. If you do, life is ruling you, not the other way around. You might have to dig deep to find the energy to deal with the ironing or the other stuff that won't get better if you don't intervene, but you do have to deal with it. And if you find you still can't manage, get help, get support. You do deserve it. Someone needs to do the ironing. Someone needs to deal with the crap in the lidless box. If there's really only you and you have to do it, get on with it and allow yourself to have the measure of joy that completing or solving it brings. Focusing on outcomes instead of challenges helps to find the energy to get started. And if the most logical or workable solution for you is to get help, do that. And do it without letting horrible little gremlins like guilt or shame drive or stop you. You've earned the right to be supported in whatever it is that you have to deal with. I'm lucky that I do have time to do my ironing. I tell myself that in the time it takes me to think of excuses not to do it, I could have made a start on it. Nowadays, I ask my husband if he's around to get the ironing board out and get the iron set up. And the difference that small amount of help makes for me is huge. I've also learned that I don't have to solve every problem alone. I've stopped feeling obliged to. I really am becoming that woman who asks for help without guilt, shame, or self-consciousness. Whether it's ironing or life, putting off sorting something out that needs you to do it is allowing the dreaded procrastination gene to have control. And that's bonkers. You are in control of the outcome of doing or not doing whatever it is that needs your attention. So take that control. Take command. Iron out the creases. And don't be afraid to ask for help to do it. Okay, I will talk to you soon.